The council chamber was quieter than usual, but the tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a blade. The live demonstration of human biology had concluded, leaving the delegates in a mix of awe and unease. For the first time, the galaxy had seen undeniable proof. Humans could reproduce year-round, unaffected by seasons, climate, or disasters. Whispers spread like fire. Some species were fascinated, imagining the possibilities. Others were wary, thinking about the dangers. Endless human fertility could mean rapid population growth, faster colonization, and a resilience unmatched by any other species. The galaxy suddenly faced a question it had never imagined. What is humanity capable of? Princess Lyra sat on her high platform, her silver crest glinting, her golden eyes thoughtful. Her pride battled with a reluctant admiration. For centuries, the Sarathi had studied countless species, believing their biology and adaptation strategies to be unsurpassed. Yet humans were proving that nature had more surprises than anyone had imagined. One of her advisors leaned in, whispering urgently, "Princess, other species are afraid. The Marduk are already suggesting restrictions. They fear humans will dominate the stars." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "And are they wrong?" The advisor hesitated. "Not wrong, Princess, but fear is not always truth. Humans have survived catastrophes we cannot imagine. If they continue like this, their potential is vast." Meanwhile, Captain Elias and his team were quietly observing the council's reactions from their station. They knew that proof was only the first step. Humans had shown they were capable of survival. Now the galaxy had to decide how it would respond. The Marduk representative rose first, slamming their claw against the podium. "This is unacceptable," he growled. "We cannot allow a species to reproduce without limits. Such ability can destabilize entire systems. We demand regulations, containment and monitoring of humans." Other delegates murmured in agreement, especially those from species with strict reproductive cycles. "They could outnumber us in decades," said a Talarian elder. "Unchecked growth could threaten our colonies, our resources, and our influence." Lyra's voice cut through the rising clamor. "We cannot act out of fear alone. Humans have shown their ability to survive, yes, but they have not proven aggression. We must be careful not to punish a species for what it is, not what it might do." Elias stepped forward, addressing the council with calm authority. "We do not seek domination. We do not seek conquest. Humanity's claim is survival, adaptation, and endurance. We do not threaten other species unless provoked. Our strength lies in persistence, not power." The council chair, its crystalline body glowing softly, tilted slightly and issued a resonant hum. "The evidence is undeniable. Humans are capable of reproduction beyond known limits. However, the council must weigh the implications. Potential threat and admiration coexist. Discussion will determine how the galaxy responds." In the chamber, delegates debated fiercely. Some argued that humans should be restricted, monitored, or even quarantined. Others argued for collaboration, studying humans as a marvel of evolution. The tension was palpable. Princess Lyra listened, silent for once. She weighed every argument, considering her people, the galaxy, and the humans before her. Fear and admiration twisted together in her mind. She had long believed humans were young, inexperienced, and limited. Now she realized they were extraordinary. But the galaxy's reaction could make or break the fragile peace. Later, in a quiet moment, she spoke to her aide. "They are remarkable. Their biology, their persistence, their ability to endure. It is beyond what I thought possible. And yet potential alone brings danger. If other species fear them, conflict may arise." Her aide nodded. "Do you trust humans, Princess?" Lyra paused, staring out at the distant stars. "Trust is earned, but respect is immediate. Humans have earned both, to an extent. Now we must see how they wield it, and how the galaxy responds." Back with the humans, Elias gathered his team in a small conference room aboard their station. "We've shown them the truth," he said. Now, we watch. The galaxy must decide how to handle this knowledge. Fear or admiration. They will act. On one. Dr. Marin frowned. Captain, some species are already calling for restrictions. They fear our growth, our survival. What if this leads to conflict? Elias shook his head. We cannot control others' fears. We can only control ourselves. Humanity survives not because others accept us, but because we endure. That is our power. Let them fear or admire. Our work is to remain true to who we are. Days passed. The council met in secret, debating quietly but intensely. Lyra followed every session closely, her thoughts a storm of strategy, observation, and calculation. Fear and respect ran side by side, and the humans became the focal point of every discussion. Finally, the chair announced a preliminary resolution. The council acknowledges the evidence of human biology. We recognize the species' ability to reproduce year-round. No immediate restrictions shall be placed, but the council will monitor developments and maintain diplomatic oversight. Relief rippled through the human delegation, though Elias remained cautious. This is only the beginning, he said softly. Recognition is not acceptance. Observation is not trust. We must continue to show that humanity's strength is endurance, not conquest. Princess Lyra observed silently as the humans prepared to leave the chamber. She had demanded proof, and they had delivered beyond all expectations. Still, a question lingered in her mind. How far could humans go if their survival instincts were unmatched by any other species? That night she spoke quietly to her aide. We have seen humans' abilities. We have seen their resilience. And now we must decide. Do we treat them as equals, as threats, or as a marvel of nature to be studied and understood? Her aide remained silent, understanding the weight of her words. Lyra looked out at the stars, her golden eyes reflecting distant worlds. She knew humanity had changed the galaxy's perception forever. They were no longer just a young, insignificant species. They were remarkable survivors. And whether the galaxy chose admiration, fear, or envy, one thing was certain. Humans had become a species impossible to ignore. Captain Elias, back on his station, watched the stars as well. He knew the real challenge was only beginning. Humans had proven their biology, but the galaxy's reaction could shape their future. Fear or respect, both could lead to consequences. Yet he smiled quietly, filled with determination. Humanity would survive, as it always had, and in that survival lay the truth of who they were. A species that refused to be limited no matter the odds. The galaxy might fear it, admire it, or envy it, but they could not deny it. The council chamber was quiet for once, a rare stillness settling over the floating platforms and crystalline towers. Days of debate, discussion, and whispered fears had passed. Delegates from hundreds of worlds looked to Princess Lyra of the Scifi for guidance. Her golden eyes reflected every light in the chamber, thoughtful and piercing as if she could see the galaxy itself. For weeks, Lyra had doubted humanity. She had expected arrogance, lies, and failure. She had demanded proof, and the humans had delivered beyond imagination. Live demonstrations, historical records, real-time data. They had shown what no other species had ever done. Humans were capable of reproducing year-round, thriving under every condition, surviving catastrophes that would destroy others. Yet admiration and pride warred in her mind with fear and caution. To acknowledge the truth fully was to accept that her people, and indeed the entire council, had underestimated humans. Finally she rose, her silver crest catching the light. The hall grew silent as her voice carried over the delegates. I have watched humans, she began, her tone steady but soft, and I have doubted them. I have expected arrogance, deception, and exaggeration. Yet what we have seen is neither arrogance nor lie. What we have seen is survival. Humanity endures where many would perish. Humanity thrives where others would fail. And humanity does so without seeking domination or conquest. A murmur spread across the hall. Some delegates leaned forward in curiosity, others in relief. The Marduk hissed quietly, their claws tapping on the metal surface beneath them. Even the Talarian elders, known for their skepticism, seemed captivated. Lyra continued, her voice stronger now. We have feared their potential. We have worried that unlimited fertility and adaptability could be dangerous, but potential alone does not define a species. It is choice, discipline, and endurance that shape what a species becomes. Humanity has shown all three. They are not reckless. They are not violent by nature. They are survivors. Captain Elias stepped forward, his posture calm but his eyes bright with quiet pride. Princess Lyra, council members, he said, we do not seek admiration nor do we seek fear. We simply live as humans have always lived, adapting, enduring, and surviving. That is our gift and our challenge. Survival is not a weapon. It is a responsibility. We show it to you not to threaten, but to teach what persistence truly means. The hall fell silent again. Every delegate seemed to consider the words carefully. For once, fear was tempered with understanding. The humans had not claimed supremacy, only survival. And in that survival lay a strength unmatched, undeniable, and inspiring. Lyra allowed herself a small sigh, the tension in her shoulders easing, slightly. She had demanded proof, and it had been given. She had doubted, and she had learned. And now she faced the truth. Humans. The days after Alex's encounter with the Vrathar were full of whispers and tension. Every corner of the Galactic Academy seemed to hum with talk of the human who had touched a Deathworld predator and lived. Cadets gathered in small groups, nervously glancing toward Alex and his massive companion, Kitty. Even the instructors were not immune. Some of them debated quietly behind closed doors. How could a human, barely trained like the others, bond with a creature meant to kill anything? That approached it. And yet there it was, calm, obedient, and protective. For Alex, life at the academy carried on almost normally. Classes, simulations, and training exercises continued, but the atmosphere had shifted. Wherever he walked, whispers followed. Eyes watched him, some filled with awe, others with suspicion. One afternoon during a lecture on interstellar survival tactics, the instructor brought up the Vrathar incident. Cadets, he said, his tone clipped. Let yesterday's demonstration serve as a warning. Deathworld creatures are not pets, they are lethal. Humans, especially this one, should not be considered normal. He may be exceptional, but the galaxy is full of creatures that will not forgive carelessness. Alex raised his hand, smiling faintly. Instructor, I didn't do anything special. I just stayed calm. Most species, humans at least, know how to observe a predator. We don't attack, we respect it, that's all. Some cadets snickered. They thought he was underestimating the danger. Others, though, looked thoughtful, and a few even jotted down his words in their data pads. After class, Alex was approached by a small group of students who had not spoken to him before. Human. A small green-scaled cadet began nervously. We heard about what happened. How did you do it? Alex scratched the back of his head and shrugged. I just remembered Earth's old stories about humans living alongside wild animals. We learned to read their moods, respect their space, and show them we aren't a threat. That's it. Another cadet, a tall, thin alien with 6 fingers, tilted his head. Are you saying you can tame all dangerous creatures like this? Alex shook his head. Not all. Some are too aggressive. Some are impossible. But many just need trust. That's the difference. Most species see monsters and think only about fear or killing. Humans, we try to see something else, something worth respecting. The group nodded slowly, unsure whether to be impressed or afraid. By the evening, rumors had spread further. In the dormitory halls, students whispered of humans and their monster effect. Some said humans could calm wild Vrathar simply by standing near them. Others speculated that humans had some strange aura that predators could sense. Even the more skeptical students started noticing patterns. Whenever Alex was around, Animals, or even smaller alien predators in simulation exercises, behaved differently. They were calmer, more obedient, sometimes even playful. The Academy's security monitors picked up something unusual as well. During a containment test with a smaller but aggressive predator, Alex entered the observation room. The creature, which had previously tried to escape its cage, slowed immediately, pressing against the glass without striking. Alex didn't touch it. He only observed quietly. The creature remained calm for the duration of the test. The head instructor, watching remotely, rubbed his forehead. "Impossible," he muttered. "This human is altering behavior without direct contact. Some effect, some presence, we cannot explain it." Meanwhile, Alex continued to bond with Kitty. During free time, he would sit in the courtyard, scratching behind her head or along her back ridges. Some cadets dared to approach slowly, wanting to see if they could understand the bond. Kitty watched them with suspicion but didn't attack. She simply sat near Alex, her body relaxed, and let him demonstrate again how humans could calm a death world predator. One cadet, a timid creature with translucent wings, asked quietly, "Human, how do you know what to do?" Alex smiled gently. "You just watch. You pay attention. Every creature communicates differently. Most species forget that. They can listen. Humans, we listen. That's the secret." The cadet blinked, not sure what to say. By the next morning, the Academy's halls were filled with rumors more colorful than ever. Some students whispered that humans had an innate power over life forms, while others said it was luck. A few suggested it might even be dangerous, that a human capable of calming a death world predator could become a threat to the galaxy itself. Alex, of course, didn't care much about the rumors. He continued his studies, attended lectures, and trained as usual. Kitty followed him everywhere, a silent reminder that some bonds were stronger than fear. But not everyone was convinced. One group of students decided to test the limits. They planned a simulation exercise designed to see how Alex and Kitty would respond to danger. During the simulation, a controlled predator drone, modeled after a small Vrathar, was released into the arena. Most cadets panicked, ducking behind walls or firing blasters. Alex, however, remained calm. He knelt slowly and extended a hand. Kitty padded into the arena behind him, eyes glowing but gentle. The drone hesitated, sensors flickering as if uncertain. It was programmed to attack immediately. But Alex stayed still, exhaling slowly, speaking softly to Kitty in a quiet tone. The drone slowed, its mechanical jaws lowered. It moved cautiously toward Alex, and then, inexplicably, stopped. Kitty positioned herself beside him, growling softly. The cadets watching from observation decks gasped. It was more than trust. It was influence. Even a programmed predator could sense the human's calm, the way he moved, the way he projected confidence. By the end of the day, instructors were reluctantly impressed. "We may need to revise our protocols," one admitted. "Humans are unusual. They can inspire loyalty where other species inspire fear." That evening, Alex sat quietly in the Academy garden, Kitty resting at his side. The stars above shone brightly, and the galaxy seemed calm for a moment. He whispered to Kitty, "Not all monsters are bad, right? Sometimes they just need someone to understand them." Kitty purred in response, a deep vibrating sound that echoed softly through the garden. Across the Academy, whispers continued, but now they carried something new: curiosity, wonder, and a growing realization that humanity might be something the galaxy had never fully understood. Weeks had passed since Alex's first encounter with Kitty, the Vrathar. By now, most cadets had accepted that humans were unusual, but the question of their true capabilities remained. Stories of Alex calming the Death World predator had spread through the Academy like wildfire. Some students approached him with curiosity, others with fear, and a few with open skepticism. The instructors, meanwhile, had been monitoring every interaction carefully. The Vrathar's behavior had remained consistent, calm and obedient around Alex but unpredictable to anyone else. The academy had strict rules. No student could endanger themselves with a death world creature. But today, those rules would be tested in an exercise unlike any before. Cadets, the Xiran instructor announced, his scales shimmering in the overhead light. Today we will conduct a containment exercise. You will face a controlled predator from a death world simulation. The goal is to test both your composure and teamwork. Remember, some of you may face danger unlike anything you've trained for. Respect the rules. Respect the creatures. The say. Students nodded nervously. Most clutched their weapons, hearts pounding, but Alex remained calm. He crouched beside Kitty, whispering softly to her as she padded beside him. The massive creature's glowing eyes flicked across the arena, scanning for potential threats, and then returned to Alex's gaze. She had learned to trust him completely. The simulation began. A second Vrathar, genetically engineered for the Academy's tests, was released into the arena. This one was larger, more aggressive, and clearly designed to test the limits of any cadet's courage. Its claws dug into the metal floor, sparks flying. Its jaws opened, revealing rows of sharp teeth, and its eyes glowed a fiery red. "Stay back!" one of the alien cadets shouted. Most of them froze in panic. The instructors expected chaos. Most students had never faced a creature so hostile and large, even in simulation. Alex stepped forward. He raised a hand, not to strike, but to signal calm. Kitty followed him closely, muscles coiled like a living shield. The second Vrathar charged. Chaos erupted. Cadets scrambled to the sides, weapons raised, shouting orders. But Alex remained still. He took a deep breath, crouched low, and spoke softly. "Easy. It's okay. Just calm down." The Vrathar slowed, confusion in its glowing eyes. It had been trained to attack immediately, but something in Alex's voice and posture froze it in place. Kitty stepped in front of him, a living barrier between the creature and the other students. Her low growl echoed across the arena. The second Vrathar hesitated, circling them cautiously. It sniffed the air, claws scraping lightly against the floor. The instructors watched, mouths agape. "Impossible," one muttered. "It should attack. It should destroy." Alex slowly extended a hand toward the aggressive Vrathar. His movements were calm, measured, deliberate. Kitty stayed alert, her body tense but protective. The cadets gasped as the second creature lowered its head slightly, eyes flicking between Alex and Kitty. The red glow dimmed just a fraction. "You see?" Alex whispered to Kitty. "They just need someone to understand them." The creature moved closer, its steps careful, almost hesitant. It sniffed the air, then froze. Kitty growled softly, a warning, but Alex patted her side to calm. The days following the containment exercise became the talk of the Galactic Academy. Cadets whispered in the halls, instructors debated in the observation decks, and even visiting scholars asked about the human who could calm death world creatures. Alex, however, treated it all with calm normalcy. Kitty and the second Vrathar, now given the nickname Whiskers by Alex, followed him everywhere. Their presence was awe-inspiring, and many students gave them a wide berth. Yet a few brave ones tried to observe, hoping to understand what made Alex so special. One morning, the Academy announced a new challenge. It was a field simulation designed to test the cadets' survival skills against the most dangerous predators in controlled environments. The exercise was mandatory for everyone, and rumors spread that the organizers had included a wild Vrathar as part of the simulation. The news caused panic among the alien students. Vrathars were notoriously unpredictable, and encountering one outside of containment was considered nearly suicidal. Weapons, force fields, and drones would normally be required to survive. Alex, however, simply smiled. "Let's go say hello," he said softly, scratching Kitty behind the head. Whiskers nuzzled his side, and the two massive predators padded after him, calm and obedient. The exercise began. The cadets entered a forested simulation arena, dense with artificial trees, rocky outcrops, and hidden pitfalls. Birds with sharp talons swooped from above, and small predatory creatures scuttled through the underbrush. At first, The alien students stuck together, firing warning shots at shadows. Then it appeared. The wild Vrathar. Bigger and more aggressive than either Kitty or Whiskers, its glowing eyes pierced the artificial twilight. Its claws dug into the ground, ready to strike at the first sign of movement. Most cadets froze in terror, backing into corners or trying to hide. The instructors watched nervously. They knew Alex would face the most dangerous creature in the arena without weapons. Alex stepped forward calmly, holding his hands out, careful not to make sudden movements. "Easy," he whispered. "It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you." Kitty and Whiskers flanked him, growling softly, alert, but relaxed. The wild Vrathar snarled and lunged, but something surprising happened. Instead of attacking Alex, it paused mid-step. Its glowing eyes scanned him and then Kitty and Whiskers beside him. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. The instructors whispered among themselves, "How? It should attack immediately." Alex crouched slowly, his movements gentle and deliberate. "I know you're scared. I know you want to fight, but you don't have to. Look at me. Calm down, you're safe." The wild Vrathar's ears twitched. Its jaw opened slightly, then closed. The red glow of aggression in its eyes dimmed. Alex extended a hand, cautiously, as if reaching out to a house cat. The alien students gasped. The impossible was happening, again. The Vrathar hesitated, sniffed the air, and slowly approached. Kitty stepped forward and nuzzled it gently, signaling that Alex was to be trusted. Whiskers mirrored the action, forming a protective triangle around Alex. The wild Vrathar lowered its massive head, allowing Alex to scratch behind its ridged ears. A low rumbling purr escaped the creature, a sound that echoed through the arena. The other cadets stared in disbelief. Alex spoke softly, quietly, repeating simple words. "Good. Good. Easy. Safe." The Vrathar's glowing eyes relaxed. It crouched beside him, calm but alert, ready to respond to any sudden danger. One of the instructors finally spoke, voice shaking. This is unprecedented. No human should be able to do this. It's trust. It's the ability to connect, to inspire calm." The alien cadets were in awe. Some took notes, some simply stared, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. Alex wasn't using weapons or technology. He wasn't faster, stronger, or more intelligent than anyone else in the arena. He was human, and humans had something unique: the ability to see potential where others saw only danger. As the exercise continued, Alex led the Vrathars through the forested arena, avoiding artificial traps and guiding them past smaller predators. Every movement was careful, every word measured. The wild Vrathar followed willingly, sometimes nudging Alex's hand for reassurance. By the end of the exercise, Alex had demonstrated something remarkable. The creatures were not only calm, they responded to him with coordination. Where other cadets would have fired weapons and risked death, Alex had succeeded without violence, relying only on trust and understanding. The instructors were stunned. The Academy's protocol had never anticipated that a human could influence a Deathworld predator so completely. They began recording detailed notes, realizing that humanity's gift was not physical. It was emotional, intuitive, and almost magical in its effectiveness. That night, Alex sat under the stars outside the dormitory, Kitty and Whiskers beside him. The wild Vrathar, now calmer than anyone could have imagined, rested a short distance away. Alex scratched Kitty behind the head. "See? Not all monsters are bad," he said softly. "Some just need someone to understand them. That's all it takes," Whiskers purred. The wild Vrathar let out a deep rumble, almost as if agreeing. Across the academy, students whispered about what they had witnessed. Some were skeptical, some inspired, but all understood one thing: humans were extraordinary. Not because of strength, or speed, or intelligence, but because they could turn fear into trust, chaos into calm, and danger into friendship. The Academy instructors wrote long reports to the Galactic Council. Their observations were clear. Humanity's approach to survival was different, effective, and unmatched. Where other species relied on weapons, shields, or force, humans relied on connection. And connection, it seemed, could accomplish the impossible. For Alex, it was simple. He saw creatures as beings, not monsters. He saw potential where others saw only threats. And through patience, calmness, and understanding, he turned what was feared into what could be trusted. That night, the stars above the academy sparkled brightly. Alex leaned back, watching the constellations while the three Varathars rested quietly around him. The galaxy was full of danger, full of chaos, but humans had something extraordinary, a gift that allowed them to face even the deadliest creatures without a single weapon, and that gift would not go unnoticed. The news of Alex's incredible ability to bond with Deathworld creatures spread far beyond the Galactic Academy. Cadets, instructors, and even visiting scholars whispered about the human who could calm Varathars, creatures that had terrified every species in the galaxy. For most, it was unbelievable. For some, it was frightening. But for Alex, it was simply life. The final exercise of the semester had arrived, a large-scale survival test meant to combine everything the cadets had learned over months. The arena was massive, filled with rugged terrain, dense forests, artificial cliffs, and hidden predator nests. The instructors had included multiple Deathworld predators to challenge the students. Most cadets approached cautiously, armed with weapons, scanners, and protective shields. But Alex walked into the arena accompanied by Kitty and Whiskers. Both Varathars moved with him calmly, their massive forms radiating quiet strength. The other cadets couldn't believe their eyes. Some whispered, "How can one human control two predators at the same time?" Others murmured, "He's either the bravest or the most reckless creature in the galaxy." The exercise began. Simulated predators appeared from hidden locations, roaring and snapping. Cadets scattered, some firing warning shots, others freezing, in fear. Alex, however, moved calmly, speaking in low, soothing tones to Kitty and Whiskers. They flanked him, alert and protective. Then the instructors introduced the final challenge, a massive, fully grown Varathar, much larger than the two Alex had already bonded with. Its eyes glowed bright red, its claws gleaming in the artificial light, and its roar shook the arena. The cadets gasped. Some were too frightened to even move. Alex paused and looked at the creature. It was beautiful, terrifying, and untamed. The other cadets had already raised their weapons, expecting a fight to the death. But Alex didn't flinch. He crouched, keeping his movements slow and calm, and whispered to Kitty and Whiskers, "Stay close. Watch and help." The wild Varathar charged. Most cadets screamed and scattered. Alex stepped forward, holding his hands out in a gentle gesture. Kitty growled softly. Whiskers mirrored her stance, forming a protective triangle around him. The wild Varathar slowed. It sniffed the air, its massive body tense but hesitant. The instructors watching from above were speechless. No human had ever faced a full-grown Deathworld predator alone. Alex spoke softly, repeating simple words, his voice calm and steady. "It's okay. You don't need to fight. You're safe. Look at me." The creature's eyes flicked to Kitty, then Whiskers, and finally to Alex. Something in the human's calmness reached it. Slowly, it lowered its massive head. A low rumble echoed from its throat. Not aggression, but curiosity. The arena was silent except for the human's soft voice and the rumble of the predators. The cadets could hardly believe what they were seeing. The massive Varathar, meant to attack anyone who approached, crouched beside Alex. The instructors whispered among themselves, This is impossible. It should attack. It should kill. No human should command such respect." Alex gently scratched the Varathar behind the head ridges. The massive creature leaned into the touch, a deep purring sound vibrating through the arena. Kitty and Whiskers nuzzled the wild Varathar, signaling acceptance. Alex stood slowly,